Hi, I'm Nigel, and today I'm excited to present our work titled Comparison Study on User Experience of ATM Cardless Services. This work is a collaboration with Ewan Yan and Professor Weng-Chong Zheng at the Master's Program of Innovation Design from the National Taipei University of Technology, Taiwan. After Taiwan approved cardless services in 2017, various banks started to develop the service with biometric identification, QR codes, or jointed IM accounts. However, it relies primarily on serial number to verify user identities. Since then, research and studies have been addressing that usability of ATMs has a significant impact on user satisfaction and willingness to use the service. The LUCA recommends keeping the authentication process within 10% of the total task time to assure user satisfaction. Coventry also found that users who completed their first task reported higher satisfaction levels, increasing users' willingness. Therefore, our work wishes to evaluate and redesign the ATM cardless service. We hope that the result will serve as the basis of the future interface optimization, thus increasing user willingness to cardless withdrawal in the future. So in the first study, 30 participants without prior experience were recruited and randomly assigned to one of the top 3 banks in Taiwan. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, all experiments were conducted online. The participants were first asked to fill out basic information and their willingness to use cardless service before the experiment. Then they were asked to complete 2 specific tasks, first applying and second operating the service. After completing both tasks, they were asked to fill out the SUS and willingness questionnaire, and lastly followed by a semi-structured interview. So as a result, in terms of task time and failure rates, we found that Bank A was the best performing bank and conversely, Bank C has a worse performance in Task 1. All of the 3 banks shares the same application process, and participants were needed to insert their ATM cards to start applying. Surprisingly, Bank A has an additional application entrance, where it is placed under the cardless service framework, and it appears that all the participants in Bank A tend to complete their tasks through the additional route, which results in lesser errors and shorter task completion time. Where for Bank B and C, participants also expect to locate the entrance by clicking on the cardless transaction button on the standby page, leading to higher task time and error rates. However, participants in Bank A expect to locate the application entrance in the second step, where it was found in the fourth step, causing them to lose confidence as the number of steps increased. For Task 2, cardless withdrawal, Bank A has the lowest error rate, whereas Bank B has the opposite. The info architecture of Bank A's mobile banking app for cardless withdrawal is 1 to 2 layers lesser than the other banks, where it only requires 4 steps to obtain the cardless withdrawal serial number. However, Bank B and C requires up to 8 steps. Hence, we can see that keeping the process short and straightforward helps to improve the usability and satisfaction of the service. Also, in general, all participants in the 3 banks spent more time completing their withdrawal tasks despite instruction issues. Bank A and C's instruction failed to catch their attention. Whereas on the other hand, Bank B did not provide any instruction at all, resulting in most of them not knowing how to proceed with the task. And based on the SUS usability questionnaire, it can seem that Bank A has a higher score among the 3 banks. However, it is still rated as a grade B. And it appears that the willingness of all 3 banks has declined after the experiment. Thus, there is still room for improvement for all the 3 banks, including Bank B. We investigated on how participants' ATM experience affects their task errors and SUS scores in the discussion part. They were classified into 3 groups, from the inexperienced to the highly experienced. As a result, we found that the task performance and SUS scores improved with experience. Furthermore, in Task 1, we found that the error rate encountered by the 3 banks during the getting to the application entrance phase was greater than the verification setup. Similarly, in Task 2, the error rate experienced by the 3 banks during the obtaining the serial number phase is higher than the subsequent identity verification phase. So in conclusion, Bank A has the best performance out of 3 banks in both tasks, as it provides 2 entrants for its cardless service and allows a shorter process to complete the task. However, in Task 1, they expect to locate the entrance in the second step instead of the fourth, causing them to lose confidence as the number of steps increased. Where in the second task, the bank's instruction failed to catch their attention, resulting in most of them not knowing how to proceed with their task. So based on the first study, we select the bank that performed the best and then optimize the interface and UX of the ATM. Besides moving the application steps forward and providing an instruction page in Task 2, we propose a 2x2 design regarding ATM layout and instruction, which are then verified in the second study. For the layout proposal, layout A acts as a control variable where layout B is split into two parts. We hope that layout B helps build layout structure by ordering visual hierarchy from the left to right, which weakens the secondary information on the left and emphasizes the primary details on the right. On the other hand, instruction A is mainly copy-paste. It is presented in a manual design with adding weights to emphasize keywords. We also match the manual with a small icon as a reference for the mobile banking app. On top of that, instruction B is mainly based on the large icons and presented in a slide design, where users are needed to swipe left or right for the following steps. So in the second study, we recruited another 36 participants, and they were randomly assigned to one of the 4 groups. The procedure of the second study is the same as the first study, with an additional NASA task load index questionnaire. As a result, in Task 1, Layout B has a slightly better performance than Layout A. However, though Layout B has a shorter task time, it also has a higher error rate. We further found that all the mistakes were encountered due to the Cardless verification page. Participants in Layout A spend more time finding out by identifying the 2 titles on the same page. On the contrary, participants stated in the interview that Layout B helps provide a bigger picture of this whole situation and helps them understand that they were on the wrong page. In Task 2, Instruction A has a better performance than Instruction B, but it also has a higher error rate. We further found that most of the mistakes were taken as they were misled by the top right wording in the instructions, which are supposed to meant by the top right area. And based on the usability and willingness questionnaire, we compared the scores of the 4 groups, and it can seem that proposal BA has the best usability performance. We further found a high score of 4.9 out of 5 in question 9, which indicated that the participants had increased confidence when executing their task. It also appeared that the proposal BA has the most remarkable growth rate in user willingness. Hence, lifting the info architecture and providing instruction does seem to enhance the system's usability and users' willingness. In the discussion part, we continue to investigate how participants' ATM experience affects the performance of cardless service. In Task 1, the inexperienced performed better in Layout A, whereas the high experience served better in the opposite. The inexperienced misinterpreted that the left side of Layout B was just an ad. However, they tend to apply from the home page instead of the verification page, which also has an entrance. We learned during the interview that they understood the page mainly provides withdrawal operations and then immediately returned to the previous page to proceed with the task. On the other hand, the higher experience stated that the elements in Layout B were in an appropriate visual order mainly through their positioning, from left to right, which leads to what they are expected to do. In the task load index, the inexperience has a lower workload in Layout A, where the high experience has a lower load in Layout B. We found that there is a significant difference in the mental demand. This is because the participants were unfamiliar with the new Layout B. They further explained that they feel worried about making mistakes, which leads to their card being stuck in the ATM, causing them to feel hesitant during their task. On the other hand, the high experience has a significant difference in the temporal demand. The participants stated that they could notice the progress bar, which helps them to keep track on remaining steps throughout the task. In Task 2, both groups seem to have a shorter task time in Instruction A, but the inexperienced have a higher error rate in particular. During the interview regarding Instruction A, the inexperienced explained that they have difficulty noticing the icon beside the keywords, thus getting misled into the incorrect entrance. However, the high experience stated that the emphasized keywords with icons could effectively help them capture the key points at a glance, thereby reducing their task time. In the task load index, the inexperienced have a lower workload in Instruction B, where the high experience has a lower workload in Instruction A. The inexperienced pointed out that they feel pressured when using Instruction A, as they were worried about missing any of the steps, leading to more mistakes in the subsequent process. On the contrary, the high experience has a significant difference in the temporal demand. They stated that most of the steps are simpler than expected, which makes them feel that they could perform faster in the instruction process. They further explained that the design of Instruction B highly increased the interaction cost as they have to be constantly going back and forth between the ATM and their mobile device. In conclusion, we could see that the redesigned interface has a better performance and some of them even show significant improvements. It also can be seen by comparing the SUS score. Among them, we further found that some of the SUS questions has significant improvement between both experiments. Also, the redesigned interface has a higher user willingness after experiment. Besides that, Proposal BA has the best performance among the 4 groups as it has the highest SUS score and most incredible growth rate. In particular, our study found that the different ATM experience affects the performance of different layouts and instructions. Therefore, the Proposal AB seems to be the best suited in experience, and in contrast, the Proposal BA seems to be best suited to hide the experience. We hope that the findings of this study will serve as a basis for improving ATM cardless services in the future. It has been a pleasure of mine to present our most recent research, and we are looking forward to extending the experiment in the future for further validations. On that note, thanks very much for your attention, and we look forward to any questions you may have about our work. Thank you.